Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jenny Turi, and I'm the clerk for the Village of Ruidoso. And I have here with me Levi, I almost said your dad. Levi, God, I can't even think. Beatty. And he's with Capital Projects, and we have John Russell also with Capital Projects. So the purpose of this meeting today, and we call it ICIP, and this plan has certain purposes. And as Levi's going to explain, it's not a wish list, it's not a funding source, and it's not an application for funding. It's a 5-year projection of capital improvement projects for the Village of Ruidoso. And I'm going to let Levi take it from there.
So it's a planning tool which it establishes how we want to receive funding. You know, it's not a wish list, but it covers, we're looking at here is for the years of 2026 through 2030. And it's updated. You update it annually. Mm-hmm. You submit, what is there, about 20 projects on there per, there's quite a few projects on there, but
you can put as many projects on the list as you want. One group of people that looks at this list is when the legislators go to session. They'll look sometimes at the top 5 for when it comes time for during the session, the governor allots money to like the House or the Senate or different representatives, different districts, and they'll be given a pool of money, and then each legislator, according to their district, will divide that money up, if you will. It's not divided evenly, but it's appropriated according to what kind of projects, water projects, road projects, whatever the case may be. So when you take the time to put something on your ICIP, it shows that it means something to you. It shows that it's something that you feel is important for your municipality. And that's why the legislators use it as a tool as to when it comes time for them to start appropriating money. They like to have this and look at it. And it involves a lot of things. It involves whether it's a phased project, and if so, if it's phased over the 5 years, how much is set aside each year to complete that project. It can be small, it can be big, but it's definitely a tool that they use when they start looking at monies to appropriate to local governments. And so therefore it establishes the priorities, and like I said, it increases funding opportunities, and how it does that is just how I explained. It's on a list. It's something that is easily accessible to those. It's detailed. You have to, as an example, if you decide you want to build a new government building, you have to have certain language like plan, design, construct, equip, whatever. And you have to be very careful with that scope, because that scope of work will be written into the language of the grants that you are maybe granted. And so if you are granted money to build a new government building and you didn't put in there furnish, and suppose you went through the planning, the design, the planning, the building, whatever, and then you get ready to bring in your desks or whatever, and it's not in there, it's not going to be a qualified expenditure for that grant because it wasn't in the scope. So they like to see as much language as possible, plan, design, engineering, construct, furnish, rehabilitate, whatever is applicable to the project that you're listing on there.
yeah, they definitely want to see a plan of how you're going to spend the money. And if you have something invested, like as the village, if we have something invested in it, that they really like to see that you have something out there, like that you're also,
And the things that you ask for that you put on these lists needs to have a life expectancy of 10 plus years if you can. So there's ways that you can apply for funding for like fire vehicles or police vehicles. This is structured more to infrastructure, capital improvements. So they want to see another asset is if they want to see how ready you are to proceed. If you get this money, are you shovel ready? Do you already have plans in place? Or is it from dirt up, nothing has been done? They encourage municipalities to go out and, if you have a project, so here, this plan is for 26 through 30. Ideally, something that we put on 26 or something that we have on like maybe year 2028, we should already be thinking about engineering and planning of some kind, so that when it gets to, because the ICIP, when those who look at it for funding sources, it'll have the priority for year 2026, 2027, all the way through 30. So you can project out according to how ready you are. You don't want to put something that you're not ready for year 26, but maybe on 28 or 29, but something that you've been working on, and maybe you have planning 75% done, 80% done, you could put that on your 26 priority list. So the funding agency, Department of Finance Administration, they encourage us to open this up because this is for the public, to get public input on what kind of things that they would like to see us put on this priority list. And we're having the meeting today, then we're having another one next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And then after that, we'll be at the July council meeting. The governing body has to officially adopt the final ICIP list through via resolution. It's entered into the applicable software, the state software, and then it's set in place for when the funding cycles start. ICIPs are applicable to senior citizen facilities, meaning that our community center here submitted their own ICIP infrastructure wish list. It goes to special districts, water districts. Tribal governments are encouraged to adopt an infrastructure plan, counties and municipalities. And then we have deadlines. As an example, municipalities have a deadline of July 12th to finalize the plan. So what we want to hear from you all in attendance today is what kind of things that you would like to see us put on this priority list, and then we can discuss that with Levi and John and everyone in here. And because it's your money, it's all of our money, and we want to do everything we can to improve the village. So that's what this meeting is for your input. So would anybody like to provide some public input? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm Don Romero, and my question is, it's going to make the finals list, and you mentioned a little while ago about things that were already on the planning stages and the engineering stages already, so that when that time comes to be on the list, it's ready to be on. What projects are being considered to be on the list that have already had some engineering going on, some pre-planning, things that are in the first steps of being incorporated into that list?
Hold on 1 minute, and we're going to you'll go get the list.
We can connect and pull up do you have it on a jump drive?
No, but there's a public list. You can find it online.
Okay, just print it
I
out.
know I have the one that Ron just gave to us.
Where is it?
Let me go see if I can find it. I'll go get it. Yeah, I'll be right back. Thank you for that. I apologize, I don't have that with me. I'll be right back.
Well, yeah, because some people watch on YouTube and they'll call. That's why we always do that, because they'll call them up and we're like, what? And it was like library board, or I don't know. Yeah. Lodger's tax. I'm like, no. It's not who that was. But I see your confusion. Mm-hmm. Upper Canyon and Brady Canyon have already been evacuated, or they're in the process of being evacuated now, yeah. And then next on the list was Cedar Creek. Yeah. This would be the third EOC activation since I've worked here. The first one was because when Upper Canyon flooded, remember that? And then, no, well, the second time. Because I came in 2019, so shortly after that. And then it was the fire 2 years ago. And now this one. Today's my 5-year anniversary. Thank you. Yeah. Vested again finally. Oh, really? Is that what we were smelling this morning? Oh, okay.
Okay, we wondered, because when we came in from Alto coming down Swishella, you could just see, and I was like,
We were told it
okay,
was
is that
smoke from
cloud
Santa
or
Fe
is that
that we were
smoke?
smelling.
This is the way it's looking, this is our draft.
Hey, Mike.
Okay. So give me a minute to look at this one. I said, I'm not saying we have that on here. I'm going to look. I'm just saying it's the ideal situation to have planning and engineering in place.
I need to go get,
Let's see here.
you just press that before somebody talks. I would need to go get Kathy
Okay.
and jump on it and tell them they need to report to the DOC.
What's the Department of Finance's?
DFA.
DFA, it's through the DFA website, you can go through there.
New Mexico Department of Finance Administration. In looking at the one that this is all proposed, some of the projects that I know we've had in place for a while is bridge replacement. I believe we probably have quite a bit of work done on that.
Judy said the other day there's 3 of the 9 bridges that are complete.
Okay, very good. Sewer line rehab. We've had that, we've had work, been going on that for several years also. So some of the things, okay, I'm going to read the top 10. Workforce housing, bridge replacement project, Horton Complex, sewer line rehab, outdoor recreation infrastructure, broadband and fiber connectivity, sidewalk and lighting improvements on Sutterth, an emergency center, sewer line extensions, streets and drainage, Alto Dam improvements, White Mountain Outdoor Rec Complex, Wingfield Park improvements, Airport Master Plan. So that's the top 15 right there.
I'm sorry, what was the Alto Dam?
Let's see, Alto Dam compliance and improvements. So even though I said earlier about equipment and such, we do have here fire trucks and heavy equipment, but most of those can have a life expectancy of 10 or more years, most of them. Airplane sunshades and vehicle covered parking at the airport. Solar projects, solar infrastructure improvement projects. Rio Ruidoso restoration flood hazard mitigation.
What about upgrades to the asphalt plant?
Oh, the asphalt plant, our hot mix plant? Okay, I don't see that on here, so I'm going to take that.
Definitely got a 10-year lifetime, but I know that's a.
Right, and for, Mr. Hall is aware of this, but I don't know if you two are aware, we have our own hot mix plant. We're one of the only ones in this area that, as a municipality, have that. So hot mix plant improvements.
Upgrades.
Upgrades.
I'm not sure
I don't either.
Yeah, but as I said, having been in that business 40 years ago, I know they don't last. If you get 30 years out of a hot mix,
Right.
that's a good deal.
And let's just talk about streets for a little bit, street work. We have some of those, we have that project on here, one of them, street improvements. But keep in mind too that there's other funding avenues and sources for street work. Like we can go through New Mexico Department of Transportation grants, which to apply for money through DOT, that project doesn't have to be on this list. This is more of what comes from the state legislature. So we have outdoor economic grants that we can apply for that doesn't necessarily have to do with this list of projects. So as an example, if we want to look at, we can use workforce housing as an example. We have one listed where it's phased out over 5 years and, funded to date, like 980,000 so far. We have to show them what have we been funded to date so far and what do we want to do if we get more money. $1 million, what we can do with that in 2026, 800,000, 2027, 3 mil 2 in 2028. So you have to, it's definitely a planning tool for us where we actually, like I said, we can make projections and phase out these projects.
I'm sorry, that was for the workforce housing?
That's an example, right, that's just an example. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you kind of brought that one up, and I guess okays like the amount of dollars and the plans.
Just because we're recording and
Oh.
we can hear you on the.
Who approves the amount of dollars in the plans and this kind of how they do it, not like they did the mobile homes down here. And it's like, I go over there and there's no parking for them. They have no steps or grass or it's like, yes, we have the deals, but as far as the design, it's really sad.
I agree.
And then.
I understand.
And then, of course, I don't know what the cost of that was. And then across the street now, I see them now going into the Moore, and I'm just looking at that, and I just look at everything they're doing there, and I see the dollar signs just going, whoop, and then I see the picture on, and same thing, like I met with the mayor, and I go, look, I just came back from Austin, saw this great tiny home village. I showed him pictures and everything, and he goes, well, how much do these units cost? I go, they're about 75 to 100 grand, You can get a lot of them. He goes, oh no, these are gonna be about 250,000. And I'm like, wow, per little home. That's $1 million for 4 little homes when we could put like 50 in. Am I not right?
Oh, I agree.
I mean, who's okaying that part of how they're spending that money? And why, or could be too much spending, or, you know what I'm saying? And was there enough research going on to find out the different types of modular or manufactured, or the type of homes cost-wise that could go in there? Because I have an RV park, and I'm doing the same thing. I want to be able to put them for some locals to live in. But I got to be very, very cost effective because it's just me, in my bank account. I don't have this village bank account that has millions, where if we could save on that part, you see what I'm saying? I don't know who controls all that. It's one of my big questions on that.
So is Michael or Priscilla around?
Stella? I can check.
So I'm going to speak.
you don't have to
Right,
answer
no,
to that.
I'm going
I'm
to
s-
speak as to what I know, and if Levi and John can help me. We apply for money for a project, okay? And suppose we get 2 mil. I believe, what can we do with that much money?
Sure.
And do we have any of our own to supplement it with? Then as far as who approves that final project, sir, I don't know. But we submit those plans, we go out to bid. It's competitive. The work is, whoever the work is awarded to, it's on a competitive process. As far as who makes the decision of how many homes, what kind of a home, all of that stuff, I don't know. But the amount of money that we receive for things on here is all dependent on our state representatives, all of the legislators.
Yeah.
You know, the governor will say, okay, you know, Lincoln County, Lincoln, Otero County, you have $5 billion, and then you have 106 municipalities or counties, municipalities applying for money, and they have to, this much here, this much there. My experience is that some of the things I've had on here at the other local government I worked at, I might have had 500,000, and they come back and give me 125. So just because you justify an amount on here, it's not guaranteed you're gonna get it. And if you get a certain amount and you accept it, then you apply it as you can to the project, or you have to give it back. So, you keep in mind that, okay, I'm asking for 5,000, what if I only get 3? What can I do with that? You know, you just have to, it's really, really hard to make those projections. And some years, local governments put in for 5 projects that total $1 million. They may get that whole million. The next year, apply for another $1 million and you get 500,000. It's all dependent on them up there.
Right.
And,
Fundamentally flawed process.
I'm sorry?
It's a fundamentally flawed process.
It is, but you know, the governor has a saying, it's not what you want, it's what you need. And a lot of times you can place your needs on here and they prioritize them as wants. So it's, go ahead and tell her no. So it's I don't know if gamble's the word to use, but you just you can never guess what, you can't even guess about what they're gonna think is important to them.
Right. Well, I guess since I got the mic here, I might as well. And I had 3 coming up with suggestions or of capital improvement things that we could work on. And number 1 was water. And that has to do with all our major, because being the tourist town we are now, and with the massive amounts we got people moving in, I'm sure our water tables are dropping, and I know they're dropping, and on certain weekends I can tell when the village wells are turned on and pumped. Like last year at Memorial Weekend, I left and Eagle Creek was flowing, and it was about a foot deep. And I was only gone 4 days, and I came back and it was 3 inches deep. And we might have had an influx of 300,000 people, 1 million, I don't know, but whoo, it just, I know our water table just drops. And if in our planning of all our, even our community, our big buildings, and even in the houses, we could put in mandatory building codes of, hey, let's start putting in water catchment systems where everybody's dryers and toilets and everything can be run off of you know, captured water. But that was number 1
Okay.
that to discuss, or the things we can do to help save and protect our water resources.
Okay.
You know, because we know with all the VRBOs and with everybody going in, man, we go through a lot of water, and we're dry place. That was 1. Number 2 was a senior housing nursing home. We don't have one here. We have Good Life, which my dad lived in it, and it only has 10 rooms, and it was more of a memory care type center. I've been here over 25 years, and I'd like to grow old and be able to live here, and if I have to move into a senior home, it'd be nice to do that, where if I do have kids here, they can watch me. But I'm seeing so many people, they're having to leave the city and go to Roswell or go to Las Cruces or Alamo, to other places. Well, we're a great town that would be awesome, to have a great senior nursing facility. And then that's two. Number three was a rec center, a community indoor rec center, because if you think about it, our weather really 7 to 8 months out of the year is nasty here. I mean, it's windy, it's rain, it's snowy, it's cold. And if we could have something with the track, swimming pool, lap track, pickleball, daycare, that'd be a great place to have a daycare center, fitness, coffee shop, little food court, and it would create jobs. And we got the perfect location over there, I guess, at where White Mountain is, and the dog park and all that,
Right.
to build something like that. And that's why I asked about, okay, when do things get put on for that type of building? Because I've literally been up in front of this board every year since like 2005 talking about an indoor facility like that for our people, for single moms that can walk strollers around like around a lap track. But those were my three big right there.
So I can tell you that, so first of all, I mean, obviously, the village has been working on the draft plan for 2026, 2030. And I can tell you that we do, number 13 priority is a White Mountain Outdoor Rec Complex. There is another one for an actual Ruidoso Recreation Center.
Okay, great.
So, community recreation and trail improvements. So I can tell you that I see at least 5 recreation related projects on this list so far.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. I know, because, I've got it up in front of, go back maybe 3-4 mayors and brought it up to all of them. And I'm like, even with Mayor Crawford, I go, here I am, 5 mayors later, and I still don't see a rec center. And you said that it was on our list.
What is your name, sir?
Scott Maynard.
Scott Maynard?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. But that'd be great if it's gonna be in the works. And
Okay, water resources, senior housing, nursing home, and recreation center. Okay. Mr. Romero?
No, I was gonna ask something that was clarified.
It was already clarified.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just got a call, I got plumbers in my house.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I guess you can hear me now. No, like I said, my two big things, and I may be wrong, but I think there's the potential for expanding Alto Lake, and I think it's related to the dam. And that's something that if it would gain us more water storage, that should definitely be an infrastructure issue. I'm not sure of all the specifics of that, but I've heard different things along that line. That would definitely be good. Anything we can do to get into a replacement program for like the main lines, I know they got people out doing leak detection and all that sort of stuff, but you do have to have the money to replace that. And right now, that's something that we don't. We do some with the bond issues every couple of years, but it would be, if we could be more active in that would help a lot. And as I said, my other item was still just like I said, the asphalt plant, whether that could be upgraded or replaced, simply because we've got, as it's been mentioned with all the, additional tourism we have in there, there are roads where we can't get DOT funding, and most of the ones we get DOT funding are connected to the state highways. And we've got a lot of roads that are not connected to the highways that definitely need work, so. And just, I know it's not a wish list, but things I did 40 years ago when I was with a paving contractor is we had a hot patch crew, you know, which was basically a 3 to 5 ton truck with a 2-ton roller and a pickup with a compressor, and they'd actually were actively hot patching stuff when we did stuff for municipalities back, like I say, 40 years ago when I was working in the Northeast. But that's it. Those were my comments for infrastructure. Thanks, guys.
Levi, do you have anything to add? Do you know anything going on out there that you can add?
I know those are all really good points. I think those are all important to our good infrastructure. And I know we've been doing a lot of sewer lines, you know, and then over at Innsbrook, you know, we did a new water line, and then we just finished one down on Pine Cliff, a new water line system of all of Pine Cliff Village down there, which I think will be huge because before they've had so many leaks, you know. I think there's one other one that.
Country Club Estates right up here behind the village, or right up here at Hall Road, is the next project going forward. I think they're through engineering, or in the last phases of engineering yet. That subdivision was built in 1960, and it was done with 2-inch galvanized pipe. So they need to work on it. And the hot plant was about 30 to 35 years ago. Jack LeMay was the street superintendent whenever they did that. He was the first one to get a hot plant up here. And that's about the age of it. And I think it's a BOMAG plant, but I'm not sure.
And then as far as Alto, I haven't heard anything on expansion of it. I know there's a new project as far as resizing the dam to meet compliance, and, you know, there'll be.
Whenever Mayor Shaw was the governing mayor, we ran Alto Lake dry several summers in a row, and they investigated lowering it. And it is sitting on a bedrock structure, and we decided there wasn't enough dynamite in New Mexico to deepen it.
So that's what this whole infrastructure capital improvement plan process is about. So in the future, if you hear ICIP, that's what this is all about. It's definitely a planning tool and a way for us to try to show those up in the Capitol, this is what we want to do, this is how we think we can do it. And a lot of times in the description, so this plan has the title of the project, estimated costs, and then there's a part that the public doesn't usually see where we actually go in there and we can make notations of what we've already done, funding that we have benchmarked or set aside, and to justify why we are only actually asking for a certain amount. So if they look at it and they say, there's no way that project can cost only $500,000, they can look farther into it and say, oh, but they've already done this, they've already done that, and they have an X amount of dollars set aside.
Yeah, they don't want to be the only funding source for your
Right.
project. Like, they want you to have, and they also, like I said at the beginning, they want the village to have something in it, you know, for them to lose so that it's more successful. It's further planned. The scope, the detail, you know, as far as what we show in our ICIP, the detail really is important. They want to see, and the wording of everything, and they because if not, if it doesn't have it, you're probably just gonna get tossed, you know, I think when they read it.
Right, they like to see shovel-ready projects that, to show where, they like to see where the municipality has made the effort, that they're planning these projects out, that they're not just sitting at a table writing a wish list, hoping to get all of the money they need to do the projects.
Any other questions?
And apologize, all of our phones are buzzing and everything, but we have families and friends and stuff calling, wanting to know what's going on, so.
All right, I am going to end the meeting. Is that okay? Anybody
Ms.
else
Romero, do you have
anything?
anything else? No? Okay.
This is my first one, and I was, just getting my feet wet, just wanted to know how these things are running.
And if you're available next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, I may have more of a team here. Today we didn't plan for certain events in the village, so there may be more of a team here next Tuesday at 4. Okay? Thank you.
Look at what Crystal just sent me.
Who?
Crystal? They did a transplant.
Oh, they did?
Sperm and her eggs into her sister. Her sister's gonna carry the baby for them.
Oh, my gosh. I gotta call my sister Tina. She's buzzing at my phone. To Larissa. Has the status changed on watch duty?
It still says 20 acres, and it was more than that before we.
Batch plant would be shovel ready.